Grace and peace, everybody. Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. Let's get at it. Fani Willis, she is at the throats of the Fulton County Commission again. It's been a minute, actually. It's been a minute since we've been messing with Fani, but actually this case happened almost about a week ago, and I didn't realize it kind of slid under the radar, but let's go ahead and talk about it. In part one of Capital B's exclusive interview, the embattled Fulton County DA backs her department, blasts commissioner's commitment to justice, and justifies the cost of the Trump and YSL prosecutions. If you don't remember, the Trump and YSL trials have cost Fulton County multiple tens of millions of dollars. They didn't even get in the YSL trial, they did not get the big fish, so to speak. They didn't get any big convictions, anything of that nature. There's lots of probations and lots of slaps on the wrist. And the Trump trial, as most of y'all know, has gone pretty much dormant since Trump has now been elected again. So we'll see what happens. You walk into DA Fani Willis's office house on the third floor of the Fulton County Courthouse. You're greeted by a quote from Malcolm X posted along the hallway. "I'm for truth, no matter who tells it. I'm for justice, no matter who it's for or against." But she's faced several tests on her ability to live up to those words as a civil rights leader's 1964 ballot or the bullet speech. When Willis was first elected in 2020 amid the C-19 pandemic, Fulton County was awash in federal pandemic relief funds, millions of which were allocated to the justice system through the program called Project Orca, designed to clear a massive case backlog and address the deadly overcrowding crisis in the Fulton County Jail. As her second term began in 24, those funds had officially dried up, and Willis, like many other department heads across the county, was forced to cut 74 positions from her office. The result of these cuts has had a significant impact on those incarcerated in Fulton County Jail, with the number of unindicted people rising. If you're not familiar, Fulton County Jail is notorious. It is notorious for being overcrowded, being filled to the brim and then some. So this one's going to be pretty interesting. Let's keep it going. Over the past month, the number of people held in the dilapidated and dangerous Rice Street facility who hadn't been formally charged with a crime has jumped by nearly 400. So however many people were in there, they just increased about 400. That's crazy. Many remain locked up simply because they can't afford to post bail. As of mid-June, 106 unindicted people had been incarcerated for more than 90 days, and 26 detained for more than 180 days. And that's those same people have not been actually charged with anything, or they can't post bail. So they're just going to stay in jail. That's wild. Capital B Atlanta received an updated data from the sheriff's office on June 6th showing there are currently 962 unindicted people in Fulton County Jail, and 263 have been incarcerated for more than 90 days. That is wild. Willis, whose office is responsible for bringing charges in these cases, has repeatedly said that she and her team are constrained by a limited budget. The county's purse strings are held by the Board of Commissioners, who insist that they cannot match the funding level Willis is requesting. My opinion is that the Commissioner Rob Pitts is a liar. Commissioner Bob Ellis is a liar. Commissioner Bridget Thorne is a liar. And Commissioner Khadija Abdullah Rahim has decided to lie with them. They have decided that they do not care about humanity, Willis told Capital B Atlanta on Friday. They're paying in one way or another. They're paying in either here so we can move these cases efficiently, or you're paying $105 a day to keep those inmates there. Okay. I mean, I understand, but man, there's also a charging issue too, but we could talk about that as well. But let's see how Fani teases us out. Criminal justice advocates like the ACLU of Georgia and Southern Center for Human Rights and the Women on the rise have called for on the district attorney's office to prioritize the most serious felonies and move quickly through the lower level felony cases that can be adjudicated through accountability courts and diversion programs. Okay, I got that. In January, Capital B Atlanta published a letter sent by Willis to the County Board of Commissioners threatening a lawsuit if her office was not sufficiently funded in 2025. When the final budget was adopted, weeks later, an additional $49,031 had been added to the $39 million budget, far less than the $7 million Willis proposed. Dang, they gave her $50,000 more, and she wanted $7 million. Dude, they be playing. Hey, that's messed up. I ain't gonna even lie, that's messed up. The county commissioners had remained clear that unless they raise taxes, which they don't plan to do, there are no additional funds for the district attorney's office. In a wide-ranging interview at her office in Capital B Atlanta, Willis makes the case for more funding and outlines why she sees the YSL prosecution as a success and why she won't be seeking an appeal in a fatal police shooting of Jimmy Atkinson. We talked about that recently as well. Fani Willis, we've been very specific about $7 million would provide an additional funding we need. 74 positions were stripped from this office, and that's how much those positions cost. Those positions were 35 lawyers, 20 investigators, 10 legal assistants, and then the remainder went to other professionals that assist in the process, like victim witness advocates that made a huge impact on the work that we were able to do. As much as I understand completely, and I don't want to dunk on Fani, but there's a lot of budget waste and a lot of bloat that I think if she demonstrated a willingness to trim and on some other areas, I think she would see much more success, in my opinion. In the letter you sent to the commissioners, you said, for optimal efficiency, case intake requires 47 lawyers, 20 investigators, 10 support staff. What does the staffing level look like right now? We have 21 lawyers in that division, and we have 10 investigators. So she basically wants to double both of them. Okay. So we're way understaffed at every place, and it's obviously affecting things. It's really just math. In a typical month in this county, you get 1,000 new felony cases a month. Ooh, that is crazy. Not to mention that there's always been a backlog. We've been able to kind of hold our finger in the dike, but we're not where we can have, or we could have been if we kept that appropriate funding. Based on numbers from the sheriff's office, the number of unindicted people in the jail has gone up quite a bit more recently than in previous months. 399 people. Is your office aware of this increase? And do you have any idea of what caused this increase? Probably stop winking at some of the crimes that we've been winking at for the last couple of years, in my opinion. I told them that it was going to happen. And in fact, I think my prediction was that by the end of the year, we would be at 3,500. When I walked in the door, there was 3,700 people in the jail. The conditions were completely inhumane. At our optimal time, we were able to get it down to 2,300 people in the jail, indicted and unindicted combined, which is the number that the jail has the capacity to hold. So it's over by 1,200. No, it's over by 1,400. That's a lot of people, man. Good gracious, man. Once you take away the people in case intake, then those cases cannot get indicted as quickly. It's math. It's stupid what the commissioners are doing. It's not a good policy. Each inmate in the jail costs the taxpayers $105 a day. In a matter of 30 days, they will spend close to $9 million. They could have given me 6 million. I thought she wanted 7 initially. Why does she want 6 here? We would take the jail more, we would make the jail more humane, and the indictment process will go quickly. But instead, they've decided to have a backlog. I mean, I got you. I see what she's saying. I see what you're saying. What I'm not going to ever do is to go back the way it was when I became a district attorney. When I walked in this door, there were an excess of 18,000 cases between 2014 and 2020 that had not been indicted. Today we are at 8,000, so they dropped 10, right? So the cut has been huge, and we've managed to keep doing good work. But unless we get the funding, the number is going to increase. I mean, that's a lot of people, man. Shout out. Given the ongoing crisis in the Fulton County Jail, how frequently does your office make the attempt to utilize drug courts and diversion programs to move people out of jail? Before I took office as district attorney, there was no pre-indictment diversion program. I started the first ever Fulton County, Georgia. We've had more than 800 people come through that program, so we use it often. Accountability for it is very frustrating because it's a wonderful program and we have up to 400 seats. Typically, there's only about 200 to 220 people in it, but that is not due to the lack of trying, but by the district attorney. We often have defendants who do not want to go through the rigorous accountability court, which is a shame because the people that do successfully go through our accountability drug court, when they come out, they're able to get a job and housing. Okay. I mean, there's no fault then on Fani for that. I ain't gonna fault her for that if that's what it is. We also have meetings monthly and even more often with public defenders where we can look at cases and make sure that the people get bonds. But the reality is citizens would be offended if they knew the people walking around on bonds in Fulton County, because I believe judges feel pressure to give people bonds that have very egregious charges and criminal court records that would make people fearful. Okay, I can dig that. Shout out to you. Okay, I got you, Fani. Do you believe that there is anything that the DA's office can do to address the unindicted backlog at this point? Or do you believe that this is all at the hands of the commissioners? The district attorney's office is doing their part. We're doing the work. We have worked with our police departments to make the system work more seamlessly, meaning it is easier for us to get evidence than it has been in the past. We hear the Republicans in the state saying we're going to go to be tough on crime. We want to be tough on crime, but they have not provided the Georgia Bureau of Investigation with the scientists they need to move in an efficient manner. Y'all get it together then. If we talk to any district attorney in the state, Republican or Democrat, and they will all complain to you about the rate with which they get evidence back. But what I'm not going to do is indict you if I don't know. The police say that it is cocaine, but until the drug lab says it's cocaine, you're not going to get indicted because I don't have evidence that it's true. And often it's not true. So we don't do that. But we would be, but that would be of some assistance. I think this is interesting, man. I don't know how this is all going to shake out. Let's look at what she says about the YSL trial. In the YSL trial, of all the people charged with murder, there weren't any murder convictions. People were convicted. They were convicted on aggravated battery. They were doing serious time. They're on paper for 40 years. It yielded a result that kept the community safe. Yeah, no, Fani, no, baby. Because remember, the big thing was Big Nut, was the deletion of Big Nut. That's more, no, nobody is in jail right now for the deletion of that man, which is crazy, right? And you can talk community members they feel more safe because of the YSL prosecution. Last week, we got a conviction against Cash Out, another rapper who's going to jail forever. Good gracious, that's right. But he doesn't have anything to do with the YSL trial. Don't throw him in there because I don't think that's fair. So to say that we're not getting the convictions we want or it's not yielding the results, I beg to differ with you. If the community is more safe, that's the result I wanted to. That's funny. Shout out to her. Okay. Go on with your bad self, Fani. What do y'all think, man? Let me know. Do you think that she's right in calling out the commissioners and saying that they're just outright lying? Or do you think, you know what, Fani, you need to tamper it down a little bit and be a little bit more humble? What do you think? Your comments down below. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for rocking with us. Let's do this again real soon. So until next time, everybody, grace and peace. See you soon.